And we have Alex Roy and Paul Davies from e-commerce for IM, and they are our preferred credit card processing vendor. Provide credit card services, chargeback mitigation, some business financing, and so they provide several different services for us, and we really liked what Paul and what Alex do over there because it makes it very, very simple for us. As Alex can contest to and Paul can contest to, it takes a really long time to get really good at credit card processing. I mean, you can learn some of the basics and maybe figure out how to do the paperwork, but there are so many different variables that go into credit card processing, different banks, different processors, high risk, low risk, reading statements, doing analysis. There are so many things that go, into an actual merchant account, getting the person interested, getting them signed up, getting the paperwork, completed, get their underwriting, install, so many different little steps along the way. And they're experts. They've been doing this for a long, long time, and they've made it just so easy for us here at Agora to be able just to submit somebody's information over to them via a very nice electronic form, which Alex will go into here in just a minute. But anyways, very long story short here, Alex is going to talk to you about all of this stuff, and Paul as well. But what we have here is truly just a blessing. And they made it so easy for us to be able to send business so we don't have to become experts in credit card processing. I have a background in it, and I can tell you now it's time-consuming. And for the average person, it's just kind of too much to learn. But in the meantime, you guys might have customers who are interested in getting a better rate, better, new equipment, a better overall flow for the business. So that's where Alex and Paul come in to kind of save the day. So with that being said, Alex, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on over to you and Paul, and you guys can start the call.
Great. Thank you very much, Jeremy, for the great intro. So I'm Alex Roy, and I have Paul Davies here with us. Hey, Paul.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
Great. So we are the two lead guys that you will talk to when you submit a lead to e-commerce for IM. When you have a customer or business owner that really needs some help from us. And so there's really four base or central services that we do with Agora to really help you guys help these customers. So those four main is credit card processing, chargeback mitigation, funding, and payouts. And so I'm going to go through each one of those one by one and really kind of give you some information and really make it easier for you to talk to customers about these different services. So really, we seem to have a little background noise.
I got you.
Great. So the first one is the credit card processing. Now we help businesses of all types with credit card processing, from retail to e-commerce to mail order to telephone, and can really help with a wide array of businesses. But we're all part of Agora to really make some profit. So one of the areas that is really good about making a high profit is high risk. So credit card processing with a high risk equal high profit. So what is high risk? So simply put, in the most elementary way, it's businesses that process payments that most payment processors and banks do not like to work with. It could be a variant of reasons. It could be because they had a loss in the past. They're afraid of government hassle, legal fees, and the list that falls into this category is very diverse. You've got firearm dealers, all the way to people who sell supplements and MLMs on the internet. And so one of the biggest common high-risk business types, which no one would ever think of, is teeth whitening. You know, teeth whitening, the same stuff you can get from your dentist or go down to Walmart and pick up. But when you sell it online, it becomes a high risk. And the reason why it becomes a high-risk category, if you will, is because teeth whitening has been sold in the past in a way that was not very friendly. So it was forced into trials and really forced upon merchants or upon customers without them knowing. So that's really why teeth whitening is one of the most common high-risk business types, and no one would ever think of it. So what really kind of brings us to the next question is, why is high risk, high profit? Well, since these businesses are not a good fit for every payment processor or bank, they understand that it's more about the relationship for them than it is about fees and costs. And it's really about setting them up with an account that's going to be stable, an account that's going to make it so they can keep processing payments. And they understand that in order to deal with the extra stuff like fear of government hassle, legal fees, and bad past industry experiences, they understand that they pay a little bit more for that. And with that, we all get a split of it. So that's why high risk is high profit. One of the other big pieces of high risk is that oftentimes there's chargebacks that are involved. Either they're having higher chargebacks or they're in an industry that traditionally has higher chargebacks. So it's something that would be very common for them to bring up with you when you're talking about their business. So I just put together a quick little slide here from an infogram that's on our website that kind of goes over some of the basics of chargeback. And so for those of you who do not know, a chargeback is when a consumer calls their bank that's connected to their credit card or debit card and says, I do not authorize this charge. And so when that happens, their bank contacts Visa, MasterCard, which then sends the chargeback through the system. And as you'll see right there on the left, you have the exact steps all the way through. But basically, in a nutshell, it sends it through the Visa system that goes to the payment processor that the business owner is using. Business owner gets notification about it, and then he has an opportunity to fight it or to just refund the customer. And so what's important about that is that the card brands have certain rules about how many chargebacks you can have. And those rules are really based upon two main things. The first rule is that if you have less is really about the actual number of chargebacks. So if you have more than 100 chargebacks, you're really controlled by one rule and one entity. If less than 100 chargebacks, you're controlled by a different entity. So when you have more than 100 chargebacks, Visa states that you have to be below 1%. So the number of sales transactions divided by the number of chargebacks. And sorry, that was opposite. It's the number of chargebacks divided by the sales transactions give you your percentage. And you have to be 0.9% or below. And Visa watches all customers, all business owners that are over 100 chargebacks. If you're under 100 or 75 chargebacks, that is then really watched by the actual payment processor, and it's really up to the payment processor's discretion. But they still really try to keep in line with the 1%.
Hey, Alex, quick question: is that 100 per month?
That's correct. That's 100 per month.
Okay, just want to clarify. It's a monthly. Okay.
Thank you, Jeremy. So there's really some of the nutshell about the chargebacks, and if you guys ever want some more information about this, I'm sure that Jeremy would be more than happy to put our infogram inside the Agora marketplace. But there's a brief overview.
Good.
So really, when you're looking for niches to really look for, it's really down to a couple basics. So people who are businesses that sell education. So education and coaching kind of go hand in hand. So a great example about that is a company that sells information on how to make money with Bitcoin online. That's great education material that's deemed by high risk that other payment processors won't touch it. That we're happy to help and work with them. The coaching is the same way. So, like a great example is business coaches, helping you bring your business to the next level. MLM or multi-level marketing companies are great niches. In kind of the same line, make money from home. So companies that really help you make money from home. And then the last two are a little bit less known, but great niches. Supplements is really a fantastic niche right now. Everyone is coming out with a new supplement that can help you lose weight or help you work out, and many more reasons coming out all the time. And supplements are great merchants. They're very easy to work with. They understand the business very easily. And it's probably about 70-85% of the accounts that we're writing these days. So supplements are a great niche to go after right now. And then firearm dealers, really going to that local retail store that is selling firearms, and they understand that there's certain rules for their business that a lot of payment processors do not want to deal with, and that's another fantastic niche. So, really, the next question that we often get is really how to approach it. So, a lot of the great basics is a nice, easy way to kind of start the conversation. Is, hey, just curious, who do you use for your credit card processing? And then really listen to what the business owner says, and really look for a need or for a complaint. And then with that need or complaint, you can then ask more questions. Like, do you have any problems with your credit card processing? Have you ever wondered if you could save money or find a better fit for your business? And then once you really kind of hear where their pain point is, you can really then go in and ask for the lead. And a great way to do that is, for example, I work with a great group who takes a consultative approach and has agreements with dozens of processors. The consultation is free, and I know they've helped a lot of merchants in your industry. I'd love to ask you a couple quick questions and pass it on to them so to see if they can help. Does that sound agreeable to you? Or okay, does that work for you? And really just kind of really asking for the intro really makes a big difference, and really helps us be able to work with that business owner to help them. So a little bit more about how we work. What makes us different is that instead of us just working with one payment processor, we work with over 36 different payment processors. So we're really able to kind of search and really find someone that's going to be a good fit for the business, as opposed to trying to make the business fit the one payment processor that we work with. So that's really why we take a consultative approach, because we kind of look at their overall business and really make our recommendations in a way that's going to be a good fit for that business. as opposed to the other way around. And the other really neat thing that we do is we do what's called a pre-screen form, or a pre-approval, if you will. And so some of the basic information that you'll fill out when you submit a lead to us, which we'll get to that, it will allow us to really shop that business owner out so that we're able to find them a good fit. And so what we do is we take that basic information about their website or about their product or their service. We go to the payment processor and say, hey, we got this prospect and they do this X, Y, and Z. Here's their website. Here's about their offer. Here's if they have any history or have done anything in the past. And then we get a yes or no from the payment processor well before they ever fill out a full application, or ever get their credit pulled, or ever have any inquiries or any looks into them. Really getting them pre-approved before they ever fill out an application. And then from there, we can work with the business owner and say, hey, processor XYZ has said that your product's a great fit for them, and it's a great fit for them because of this, and they would really like to work with you. Here's the application. We'll go through it together line by line so that we can really help you have success. And so really that kind of brings us to the next step, which is really how to submit your leads to us. And so you'll find that we're listed in the Agora Marketplace portal, and you will see a form. It's a nice online e-signature form that allows you to go through and answer all the questions, even upload prior processing statements so that we're able to get all the information. So I'm going to just take a minute here and kind of go through the questions on the form. And again, this call is recorded, so if you ever have any questions, you can go back to the recording. So some of the basic information that we start asking about on the form is the legal company name, so we know the name of the business that we're working with, as well as country of registration, because sometimes they might be out of Canada, might be out of Mexico, or Europe, and so it's really good to know that information up front. And then the next question is list URL. List URL is basically just a fancy way to say, what's your website address? And then if you have a membership site, it'd be really good to have a sample login so we can see what the members get. But that's only for a membership site. Otherwise, just need the website address. And then we ask for the owners' names and where they're located. And then from there, we go through, have you ever accepted credit cards before? Are you accepting credit cards now? If so, with who? And then we go in, well, if you've accepted credit cards before, have you ever had a credit card account shut off or turned off? And then we start walking into the transactions. So how much credit card processing do you do right now per month? And then how much are you looking to do in the future? Are you looking to grow, stay the same? What's your kind of projections or thoughts on the next 3 to 6 or 12 months? What your average transaction is, what the highest transaction is. And if that higher transaction is very high, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $10,000, is that an important part of their business, or is it just one payment a year? And then we ask for a basic description about the business, what currency they would like to process in, where they market their business, do they have a free trial or a membership site, and then really asking what's important to them about a merchant account. Now, there's a lot of fields, but it can be a really good back and forth, and not all of them are required. Just a couple of them are required. So if the business owner is unsure or not exactly clear, by all means leave it blank, and then Paul or myself will be able to explain that more to the business owner, or explain a different way so they understand the question. And then from there, if they're currently processing, it's very helpful to get the processing statements, the prior processing statements up front now in the process, because it saves a lot of time and a lot of back and forth. Because really, when we have success in this is when we have a very good intro into the business owner, that they are actually expecting our call, that they want us to help them. So having a very warm intro like that, as opposed to they said yes when they were running around between the table or something, it's really good that if you had sit down with them and talk to them, ask them about it, like we went through earlier, even gone through the form with them, so that, and then by all means, feel free to give us a call. See if you can get us on the phone with the business owner right then and there, so that we can make sure that the process goes smoothly, and that we can get this account up and running for you very soon, so that you can start making that high profit. And then the end of the form is just filling the business owner's information and then your information, so that if we have any questions or anything, we can reach out to you and you can help. So that's really the end of the merchant services side of it all. Jeremy, did you want to wait to end for to the end for questions, or would you like to kind of?
No, we could take a second. Yeah, we could take a second now and see if anybody has any questions about what you've gone over so far. You've gone over some great information so far. Are there any questions out there? I have some people on mute too. Hold on, let me unmute a few people. Okay, everybody should be unmuted. Are there any questions out there? If not, we'll go ahead and let Alex continue. All right, Alex, go ahead.
Great.
You can continue on. We can ask again later.
Yes, we can always ask more questions at the end. So, the next great service that Agora offers with us is called chargeback mitigation. Really, what that means is we're able to help businesses stop a chargeback before it happens. So really, it's about saving them from having to go into those chargeback rules that we talked about earlier. And basically, how it works, very quickly in a nutshell, is that when a customer calls their bank, or a transaction is flagged as fraud, you get a notification as a business owner that a transaction has been flagged, and then you can take the initiative to either refund that customer, especially if you're shipping products. This can happen very quickly. It can often happen before you even ship, so that you're able to prevent that chargeback. So basically, you get the notification. If you can stop it or turn off the service, you can refund the customer right away. You can then log into the portal, say you've refunded the customer, and press submit. That will then go to the customer's bank and then say, hey, this charge has been refunded. You don't need to proceed with the chargeback. And so in that case, everyone's happy. The customer got their money back, maybe because they didn't recognize the charge, or their credit card was stolen, or they just didn't want to call for a refund. And so the customer got their money back. The customer's bank's happy because they don't have to file all that chargeback paperwork and do that back and forth, which creates a lot of time and a lot of expense for them to deal with that. And you, as a business owner, is very happy too, because that's one less chargeback you have to worry about, one less black mark that you have to make sure you stay within a percentage or stay underneath 100 chargebacks. So it's a very easy service to talk about, especially when you're already talking with this high-risk niche, and they say, well, our payment processor is giving us a hard time about the chargebacks. To say, that's terrible, but we have a service that can help. We can help prevent the chargebacks before they happen. And so, since this one is a lot more simpler, we have a very easy form to go through. Basically, all we're asking for is the business owner's information so we can contact them. And then a quick description about the business and why they're looking for chargeback service. It's great to know if they're currently having a chargeback issue or they just want to prevent from ever having a chargeback issue. It's great to know that information up front. And then you, the advisor's information, so that we can contact you if there's any questions, or also make sure that you get credit for it as well. And then your signature on the bottom, and that's it. Nice and simple. Does anyone have any questions about chargeback mitigation?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just real quick, these forms, this actually goes back to the last one too. The forms are on the Agora website?
Correct. When you log into the marketplace there, actually, I'll let you answer, Jeremy. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Andrew, great question, and it is in the marketplace. So we actually have chargeback mitigation, credit merchant services is actually the title. Merchant services on the top row of the marketplace, and then chargeback mitigation as well as the business financing, which I don't know if Alex has talked too much about yet, but I'm sure he'll get to some of that here in a little bit.
Next,
I figured. That's chargeback mitigation, the business financing are down a little bit lower. I'm not sure exactly what row, but you'll see it. Just look for the title. It says chargeback mitigation and business financing. If you just click into any one of those tiles or those cards, there are multiple links throughout. You know, we have several different tabs: description, about, reviews, plans, forms. Specifically is the tab that you would want to go to, but there are those links all throughout. But go to Merchant Services, click on the Forms tab, and it'll say, please click here to complete the questionnaire form. Same rule applies for chargeback, for credit card processing, and the business financing that Alex is going to go into here right now.
Okay, yeah, that's what I want to know, that they can actually fill it out on the screen.
Yeah, you can do it with your customer, which I think is really probably the preferred way to do it, because Alex was saying, which is really important. You know, if you have somebody interested in merchant services, credit or chargeback mitigation, you can go log into your portal, right? Click on that form, maybe walk through with the merchant together, and then introduce them if you can. You know, like Alex said, call him or call Paul. Their information is in the contact tab inside the marketplace. Their office line, as well as their corporate number, as well as their direct office lines. Highly, and I'll probably say this again before we end this call here, highly recommend that you try to call Paul or Alex and introduce them to the customer or the merchant that you're beginning to speak with, just so they can meet one another. That's a great time for Paul and Alex to say, hey, it would be very helpful for us if you could send us over XYZ, or the merchant could simply ask questions to Alex and Paul if they have questions about how the process is. So we found, in working with Alex and Paul now for a little while, that it always helps with the communication and gets the ball rolling quicker and smoother if you can do the introductory call. And I know it's not always the case, and you won't always be able to do that, but if you can, definitely do it, just so that the customer knows to expect to hear from Paul and Alex, so that when Paul and Alex are reaching out to them, you know, at least that customer knows, hey, I'm looking for this call from either one of those gentlemen, so that they're expecting it and that communication isn't muddied.
Okay. And actually, I imagine that if you're maybe filling it out with the customer, I could call into Alex or Paul and maybe do a conference call to walk them through it, or while they have questions going through the form, or rather have a one-on-one.
Yeah, so the forms are kind of created so that we don't have to set up individual conference calls with every single client. So kind of I mentioned that you're there with the client, with the merchant, with the customer. Fill that form out. Before you leave, I would attempt to call Paul and Alex and just introduce them, say, hey, John Smith, this is Alex and or Paul, depending on which one you get on the phone. Just wanted to introduce the two of you. Paul and or Alex will be, communicating with you moving forward. They'll communicate through email, through phone, to let you know what other sort of documentation or steps need to be taken just to kind of see the service to completion.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Awesome.
You're welcome.
Great question. Thank you very much, Jeremy. So it's very helpful if you submit the form first so that we can look at it while we're on the phone with you, so that we kind of have some of the basics that you already have filled out done, and then anything that you left blank we can really dive into from there. And also we'll make sure that you get credit for it as well. And the forms are 100% mobile friendly, so you are able to complete that on a tablet or on a smartphone if you want to as well.
Excellent.
Yeah, and then maybe before the end of the call, Alex, I'll take back over the screen share and I can just kind of highlight over exactly where to find that form and click onto it, just so everybody can see that kind of happen and what to expect.
Great idea.
Good.
Awesome. So moving forward to the next one, as we have kind of already given you a preview, is non-traditional business funding. So funding, helping businesses get the cash they need. And so there's many different ways in that funding can work. We really specialize in what we like to call non-traditional business funding. And so what makes non-traditional business funding special, if you will, is that the funding time is much quicker. From when they submit the application and is approved, we can have money in their bank account within 24 to 72 hours. There is no collateral needed, so that you don't have to put up any physical assets. It's a very limited documentation is needed. We don't have to pull back information from 10 years ago like you're going through a traditional bank loan. Perfect credit is not required. Your credit in this process, because it's mostly based upon your business, is not as important. We can work with almost every industry, and we can get funding from anywhere from $10,000 to $2 million, and it's a very quick payback term. So instead of dragging it over years, the payments are broken down into either 3 months or 15 months, or something in between there. So, who is this kind of funding best for? So instead of trying to kind of put a framework out there, I just thought it would be best to really give you some examples. So really, for examples, the first great example is a restaurant owner, and the restaurant owner's freezer died, and so without a freezer, the restaurant really cannot be in business. So they don't have time to go through all the steps for a traditional bank loan or other slow processes like that. They need to have that new freezer right away, and that's really where we can have a lot of success. Another great example is a business who has a huge dip in sales and payments from their customers, and they need to purchase inventory to keep future sales going while they follow up on those behind payments. So something that's going to be cleared up pretty quickly. Another great example is a business owner who wants to purchase a training program or from a business coach, like we were talking about earlier, that will grow their business 10 times. So, for example, a great business example of that is a program on how to relaunch a gym. The business owner will make 5 times the loan amount in a very short period of time, but just needs the cash now to pay for the program. Another good example is a business owner who wants to send their sales team to a training seminar or a one-on-one training right before their busy season, and just needs the cash to do it now, so that and when their busy season comes in a couple months, they'll be able to pay it off quickly. So overall, it's a good fit for industries where the product and service purchased will have a very high value, and they'll be able to pay back in a very short term. So the question we often get is, how much funding are we able to get? So really, what's really interesting about non-traditional business funding is that it's really based upon cash flow. It's not based upon profit. It's based upon cash flow. So how much, basically what they look at is they look at like the top line of a tax return or the deposits into a bank account. Really looking at not average daily balances, just the total deposits into the bank account, and basically from that total deposits or gross income into the business, funding is normally 75% to 125% of that. So if a business is taking $50,000 per month, we're able to get them anywhere from $40,000 to $70,000 in funding. So there are obviously, of course, some requirements. They had to have been in business for at least 1 year. That their gross revenue, their deposits into their bank account, must be at least $12,000 per month for at least the last 3 to 6 months. It must also be a company as well. So the bank statements must show a corporation on the statements, an LLC, or even a DBA, but it does have to be a business. A personal guarantee is often not even required, especially if you tell us about it up front. And it's only open to USA businesses, so they have to be right here in the United States. And they cannot have any other funding in the last 30 days. So at day 31, we can help them with another funding, but if they had one 10 days ago, we have to wait till that 30-day mark. So important to know. This cannot be translated into an APR, as the A in APRs refers to annual, and the payback on this type of non-traditional business fund is based on projected cash flow or actual daily revenue. That's why it's really based upon the gross sales. It is definitely significantly more expensive than traditional financing, like bank loans. Therefore, we only recommend it when traditional financing is unavailable and the benefit of getting the cash outweighs the cost. Again, really ideal for businesses that are purchasing something that's going to make a dramatic change in their business. It's difficult to really it's difficult to really predict what the cost is ahead of time, but because it's really based on a factor of the funds that's provided and not really over a period of time. But in general terms, the cost can be anywhere between 7 cents and 38 cents on the dollar. This is not set in stone, as it can vary from business to business, depending on all kinds of factors, than risk, daily bank balances, time in business, industry type, payback periods, and stuff like that. And the other important piece to know is that to help mitigate the risk, the payback is deducted weekly or even sometimes daily from their checking account to really make sure that they're making all those payments on a timely manner. So funding, just like chargeback mitigation, is very easy to submit. They basically just need the business owner's information, a quick description or reason why they're looking for funding, and then you, the advisor's information, so that we're able to contact you if we need any additional information. And really, excuse me, funding is really great at helping those businesses that are left out from traditional options, but really can pay can get the value to pay it back quickly. Now, do we have any questions about funding? Nope. That's not any questions, Jeremy. Do you see any?
I do have a question, actually. So I know the payback term can vary, right, 3 to 15 months. I'm sure that depends on, obviously, the amount. But how are the payments paid back? Is it a monthly, weekly, daily? How do the business owners typically have to pay that back?
It is typically between a weekly or daily payback, and basically it's a set amount. So they say basically we can provide you with $50,000, and you're gonna pay us back $55,000. Let's say, for example, and so we're gonna take, and that's gonna be over 1 year. So we're gonna take all the business days of a year, which is around 250, and we're going to divide that total payback by those number of business days, and we're going to deduct that amount daily from your account, and they also do it on weekly. So 52 weeks in a year, we're going to divide that amount by 52 and take that exact amount out of your account every week. So it really becomes predictable.
Okay, so in that scenario, if we're talking about $50,000 was loaned, roughly $55,000 is the total amount that they're going to have to pay back. Divided by 52, you're looking at somewhere a little over $1,000 a week in a situation like
Correct.
that. Okay.
Yep.
All right, good deal. And then, yes, there actually was another question. Hey, Gene, do you want to go ahead and ask Alex and Paul your question?
Is that the one that's in chat?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just asking if there was an origination fee at all.
No, not typically. All that stuff is built right into the full contract.
Hey, this is Troy. I have a
Troy.
quick question.
Yeah.
Sure.
Is there a prepayment penalty?
There is not, but there's also not a discount for prepayment. So the fixed amount. So in that scenario, you receive $50,000 and you have to pay back $55,000. You can pay back that $55,000 at any time, but you still have to pay back the full $55,000.
Gotcha. So this could be used as like a bridge financing too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I kind of look at this like I know we have a couple of other options in the marketplace. Some more traditional business loans, but this is a program that comes in real handy when somebody's kind of in a tight spot. Like Alex had mentioned kind of earlier on in the slide, is it's maybe not ideal for everybody. It is a little bit more expensive money to get. But if they don't have time to wait around to go down to the bank to apply and wait for a week, 2 weeks, whatever however long it's going to take, but they just need something really quick, and they know that they're going to be able to, the kind of the return that they're going to receive. If it's a refrigerator, obviously that's crucial, right? Or a freezer, that's crucial because they're just going to have, and Troy, you have a restaurant background. If a freezer in a restaurant goes down, they're going to lose a lot of food, and there's going to be a lot of issues around that. So if they need to get a new freezer back, in the business right away, and the freezers, I don't know, you're going to have a better idea of how much freezers cost. So let's just say it's a $10,000, commercial freezer or something, and they need to get that like yesterday. They might not going to have the time to wait to run down to the bank, to wait for the loan, do all the paperwork, and sit around and wait. They need something right now because that's crucial to their day-to-day. And, training programs, other thing like that. So this is a really good fit for somebody who's like just in a kind of an emergency situation, needs to get some cash real quick, and they know that, getting that cash is definitely worth it, right? It makes sense to do it. Yeah, it's not cheap. It's not the cheapest money that they're ever going to get, but they just need to get it, and they feel okay just be getting that really quick and taking care of business, whatever that business entails.
Yes, this is Janet. And,
yeah, hey Janet.
Hi. I've done a couple of these in my life and paid them right back. I have another situation. It was a dry cleaners, and their dryer went down. And, I mean, they needed something right. Yeah, I think it's great, and I think you did a really good job, Alex, at explaining everything. I think it was really thorough. It was really good. Thank you.
Yes, I agree. And just so everybody knows that's on the call, and anybody listening to this call in the future, we can all thank Janet for having Alex and Paul on our team here at Agora. She made that introduction to us a while back. Alex and Paul became very highly recommended. Janet's been with the Agora organization since the beginning, before the beginning. So yes,
well,
thank you to Janet.
Yeah,
thank you,
really
Janet.
Are the best. Yeah, and I really vetted them out. I mean, I kissed a lot of frogs to get to Alex Roy and to Paul Davies. And the thing of it is honestly, they really are the real deal and highly recommended. And I mean, really, they are the best at what they do. And I am so thankful that we have them with us. I mean, he doesn't just go with anyone. Alex Roy does not just, I mean, we're just really privileged to have you, Alex, on our team, and we're very thankful. And we're growing gangbusters, so just hold on to your hats, everybody. I love
Thank
it.
You, Janet.
Thank you so much.
That is
Absolutely.
true. And like Janet said, yes, we spent a lot of time talking with Alex and Paul before we just decided that it was a good fit. And they come very highly recommended by other folks as well. I'm sure a lot of people on this call and listening to this recording know Russell Brunson, ClickFunnels. So Russell Brunson and Alex, they know each other personally. There's actually a little testimonial inside of our marketplace where Russell Brunson actually gives kind of a shout out to Alex. So Alex, Paul, and their company are a preferred vendor for Russell Brunson, ClickFunnels, huge company. I said most people probably know exactly what I'm talking about when I say Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels. That's pretty big in the marketing space. So just overall, this is really, really valuable to us and invaluable because, a lot of you guys know I have a background in credit card processing. Alex does too. I think probably longer than I even do. And, I've been out there. I've been out in the trenches. Literally, when I got into the credit card processing business, I had very little training. Had about 3 days of, okay, here's how you learn how to read a statement. Here's how you know how to do a bid. And Alex would probably laugh because he knows you don't learn how to read statements in 3 days. It just doesn't happen. Nobody's going to be great at doing it. It takes a really, really long time to become knowledgeable of reading a statement. When I say a statement, by the way, just to clarify, what I'm talking about is every single month a business owner gets a statement, just like you get a business or you get a bank statement that shows what money you've been getting depositing or getting what money's been deposited to your account, what you've been spending. Merchants get a statement every single month as well that shows them every single credit card that they've ever accepted, any refunds, any chargebacks, and the fees. There's fees. All the fees that they pay on each credit card that they take in. So another really great thing that they do, and I've done, thousands, tens of thousands probably of statement analysis, they'll do that for us too. So when Alex said previous processing statements and on that lead form there's a spot where you can actually upload, that's a big piece to the overall process is they're going to look at those statements. They're going to assess those fees and see if those fees that they're being paid are fair. And sometimes, believe it or not, it's not always about the money. I know to be realistic here, a lot of the times the merchants are concerned about the fees. But what Alex and Paul are really great about doing is, they're going to assess that. They're going to look at that. They're going to see if they can save them some money, if possible. But really it's about figuring out what is best for the business. What's best for the business owner, because it may not be that they don't feel that their rates are bad, and if they don't feel their rates are bad, then there's really no reason for us to go in and drop them even lower, because if we drop the fees, that just means overall less profit, smaller residuals. So, they're going to look at all of those things. They're going to ask the right questions. They know what they're doing. And they're going to get down to it. So kind of one of his earlier slides was just asking some basic questions and kind of finding those pain points. That's really what you need to do in the merchant services space, and sometimes it's hard to open up those conversations with business owners. So I highly recommend everybody that's on this phone, whether you have 100 years of credit card processing experience or none at all, talk to people that you know. First and foremost, get used to the flow. I mean, it's not like you're going to be involved too much. You're not going to have to worry about sitting down with the business owner and filling out a 3, 4, 5, 8-page merchant account application or installing equipment. Alex and Paul have all that stuff handled for us. But you should at least have some of the general lingos down, the credit card processing statements and fees and things like that, just so when you're talking to the business owner, they know at least that you know what you're talking about. But you don't have to be an expert, again, at the end of the day. You don't need to know all the lingos and everything that comes along with the industry. Just know that if you have somebody who is interested in having their merchant account reviewed for whatever reason, Alex and Paula will find out what that reason is if you haven't already established it already, and they're going to take care of them. So the fact that we get to utilize a lead form to potentially get a merchant account closed is crazy. I mean, for me, I know everything that goes into it. I've done it tons of different times. So when we first started talking with Paul and Alex, and they said, yeah, all you guys have to do is fill out a lead form. We close the deal. We price the account. We do the paperwork. We do the install. And another thing, when I say install, I'm talking about physical equipment. Not everybody needs physical equipment. If they're an online e-commerce business, they're going to need a gateway. They won't have to worry about equipment. But in a lot of cases, not every case, but I think in a good majority of cases, Alex and Paul will be able to actually offer them free equipment. And sometimes that's a big deal for merchants. They don't want to have to pay for equipment. I know you didn't really touch on that, Alex, but that is also really important in the industry. And it's, if it's a restaurant, it's a POS system, Alex and Paul kind of have to look a little bit deeper to see if financially it makes sense to, upfront give that equipment to them, because the POS equipments can get, into the thousands, whereas, your standard credit card terminal that most of us has probably seen at a convenience store sitting on the counter, those usually aren't terribly expensive, so it's not a big deal for them to, loan equipment or give them a piece of equipment. And another big thing too is no contracts. That is a very frequently asked question in the merchant services space is, how long is the contract? In fact, I don't think I've ever talked to one single customer that has ever signed up with me for a credit card or a merchant account that hasn't asked, how long is the contract? So the fact that you can tell them no contract, that is going to be music to their ears. They're going to like hearing that. I can tell you that right now. Let's see, chat box. Do we have a couple other questions here?
Yes, we do.
Andrew, you want to go ahead and ask your question?
Oh, yeah, I think I just asked.
Troy, yeah.
What was the minimum and the maximum amount able to be borrowed?
Yes, that is a good question, and Troy did put that in the chat, and it is right here on that slide. So minimum $10,000 all the way up to as high as $2 million. So pretty good, a substantial amount of money.
I didn't get it right. I'm sorry. So 10,000 to, what was it, 1 million?
$2 million.
10,000 to 2 million. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Alex, is there anything else that you wanted to add in based on what I kind of was just talking about a moment ago?
Yeah. Do we want to tell them about the new service that we're going to be adding to the marketplace here shortly?
Yeah, I think we should.
I think that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely would like to mention it. I think that is deserving probably of its own call. So we can talk about that just for a couple of minutes, and then everybody knows that's on this phone, listen to the recording. We'll have a whole nother call dedicated to this, and I know I haven't asked you about that in advance, Alex, so I'll ask you now. Once we introduce that, you're willing to come on back and have another call with us, right?
Absolutely. I put together 2 quick slides here about it to kind of get the thoughts flowing about who might be a good fit for it.
Okay, perfect. Go on. Go ahead and we'll talk about that for a few minutes.
Great. So our fourth service and our newest one to the Agora marketplace is payouts. And really, what that is in its most basic form is a way to pay affiliates, reps, vendors, or individuals for a service that they're providing. It's great for commissions. It's great for anything that you have to pay out on a monthly basis. And so, and oftentimes it's part of like an e-wallet, so they can log in and actually see the money that they were paid out, and then they can choose from a large selection of ways to get the money to them. Either a bank transfer, a prepaid debit card, a wire transfer. Internationally, they can even walk into a convenience store and take the money right out through some of the specialty programs that they have internationally. And really, the ideal business types that really use these payout systems or these wallet systems is the types of like direct sales, MLM, multi-level marketing or network marketing, supplier payments, insurance companies, loyalty or rewards programs, a company that pays out royalties every month. Market research companies or online surveys, and virtual workers or freelancers. And the requirement-wise for this kind of program is very little. It's because of all the regulation involved, they like to work with companies that are going to do at least 500 payouts per month within the first 12 months, and especially if they're a network marketing, direct sales, or MLM, their comp plans have to be compliant with the federal rules and laws. And so, very shortly, we'll have another great online form within the marketplace that you can go in and submit the information to us. And that really brings us to the end of the presentation. Right here on the slide. Yes.
Alex, I don't know if we can state this or not, but are there good commissions to our salespeople for, can you give us just anything of that or no? I don't know.
Yeah, on payouts, you will make money on every single one of those transactions. So if they're paying 500 or 50,000 people every month, you're going to be making money on every one of those transactions. So it's one of those where pennies add up to be a lot,
right?
When it's multiplied over a big group.
I remember one time I put a Visa card that all the it was a network marketing company, and it was just I got a little percentage every time somebody got paid, and let me tell you, that adds up. So it's very
absolutely
exciting to have you bring that to us. We want you to know that we're really excited about this new product. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yeah,
thank
you, Alex. Yeah, and like Janet was just saying, it can add up pretty quickly. We won't really know, what it's going to be. It's not necessarily that it's set because, again, kind of like the merchant services lead form, when you submit that form, they're going to do the same walkthrough general.
Oh, I think we might have lost Jeremy there, but
I think we lost Jeremy there.
No,
yeah.
but no worries, he'll be back here shortly. So, as he was saying, is that it's a process that we go through an application process with them. We present them with a cost schedule, and then you as a rep make money on that cost schedule. So there's a lot of variables that go into that cost schedule, from size to kind of payouts, and because there's so many different forms that their customers can utilize for payouts, that we can then that you make different amounts on every type. And so, does anyone have any other questions about the payouts?
No, I think that was really good. I think we all have really gleaned a lot from today. But what I like about what Alex is saying is on every single payout or every person, it's going to be a little percentage. So it's really worth looking into. And
Absolutely.
I don't know if Jeremy's coming back, so I think we could just end the call and say thank you so much, Alex. And I don't know, is Paul on here, Davies?
I'm here, Janet. Yes.
Oh, good. Okay.
Hi there.
Yeah, so they work together. And is there anything you want to say, Paul or Alex, in closing?
Yes, I do. But Paul, feel free to go first.
Oh, yeah, just one quick thing. It was touched on earlier, but when you're filling out those forms, there's nothing required, so don't be intimidated by if you can't answer a question or your customer can't answer a question. That's what we're here for, is to follow up and get all the answers that we need. So just getting as much information in there as possible is great, and then you can introduce us to your customer, and we can take it from there, and you don't have to worry about anything else.
Awesome.
And,
Thank you, Paul.
Paul, do you just have them call you directly?
Yes, that'd be the best thing to do. After the form has been filled out, though, please make sure that the form has a chance to review it, and we can have that in front of us.
Right.
And actually, Janet, that's a great segue into what I was going to talk. So, we have our phone number and email set up so that it goes to everyone in our team. So always the best way to reach us is to either call our main phone number, which is 800-570-1347, which is also here on the slide. And that phone number actually rings every member of our team before it goes to voicemail. So if any of us are available, Matt, Cinda, Paul, myself, we're able to pick up and really create that connection right away. And if unfortunately you reach us after hours, or we're on the phone with someone else, please do leave us a message so that we're able to give you a quick call back, and that we can keep that conversation open and going with that business owner. And the same thing goes for our email address too, which is cchelp@ecommerce4im.com. Perfect. So I really appreciate everyone being on the call today. It looks like Jeremy's having a couple of technical issues getting back in. Oh, there he is. Look at that segue.
I don't know. Something happened with my office line apparently, but I'm on my cell phone, so I'm back. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen.
No, absolutely. It was perfect timing. Jeremy, do you still have access to your computer to kind of take the screen sharing back over and kind of show them within the portal?
Yeah, I absolutely do. That's actually what I was trying to jump on over to when I had issues there with my phone. So let me go ahead and take the control back. So this is the marketplace. Obviously, I think we're all pretty familiar with what that looks like. So we have merchant services right here on the top, and then the business financing and the chargeback mitigation are right here next to each other. So I'll go into merchant services really quickly and just show you where to find the lead form, and it'll be the same inside of the financing as well as chargeback mitigation. And then, throughout these tabs, like I mentioned, description about, there are several little areas where it says, please click here to complete the questionnaire form. So it's really not that hard to find. You should be able to find it just about in almost every tab. But to keep things really simple, just go to the Forms tab. It's right there, opening line, please click here to complete the questionnaire form. And then another thing, too, is sometimes you guys might not always be in an area where you have Wi-Fi or data, for your phone or for your tablet. So you can actually print right here the physical lead form. We have the physical lead form available to you for all three of the services: merchant services, chargeback mitigation, and the financing. So I might recommend you guys maybe print a few copies of each and just, keep them with you in case you ever get into maybe a rural area where you just can't get onto the computer for whatever reason. So there is a physical form as well as electronic. And what we recommend on that is when you fill out the physical form, that's really where you're just going to capture that data. We still want everybody to submit that electronically. So use that form, get your answers to the questions, and then you can take it back when you get back into service and complete that electronic lead form. And there's some great information here. Credit card processing, like Alex already highlighted on, is they do specialize in high risk, but they can service any business type. And it's a little bit of a longer list of some of the high risk industries or business types, just to give you guys a little bit better idea. He mentioned some of the more commons. And, we can always ask and find out. Just because you don't see something on the list doesn't mean that they can't do something for them. Those are, again, just a list of a few of some of the ones. And so, yeah, you can always call. If you're not sure yet, you don't want to fill the lead form because you're just not really sure if it's something they're going to be able to do for you. Go ahead and jump on over the contact tab. You'll see right here they got their office line as well as their direct office lines here. So just give them a call and say, hey, here, Alex, Paul, here's what I'm working with. Here's a website address. You can go and check out the company. Let me know what you think. If they say, yeah, it looks like something we can do, great. Then go ahead and, jump into the lead form. So you guys are always open to call Alex and Paul ahead of time and kind of consult with them to make sure that it's going to be a fit. Anything that you want to add to that, Alex?
No, I think we had covered everything while you were getting back on the phone. So I think we're ready to wrap it up unless anyone has any questions.
Hey, do we have any closing questions, comments, questions? All right. Well, I know we went over a lot, and I hope everybody found this helpful. Really, at the end of the day, this is just something that's supposed to be, or we did this so that it's very easy for you. It's, like I said, it's a complex industry, but we just want to have this here so that it's super simple. So, again, we went over a lot, but really, at the end of the day, this is a simple process. You find somebody who's interested, whether because they contacted you, you contacted them, whatever the case may be. You fill out the lead form. Paul and Alex do a great job. I've had some good feedback from some of some of the customers that they've successfully been working with, and we have some in the works right now. Some really big ones, actually, too. Some really large businesses. So I would also say, kind of in closing comments here, I don't think that there's anything too small or too large. I know that Alex have worked with small businesses as well as extremely large businesses. So they really have, if anybody has a connection to get a merchant account approved, I really strongly feel Alex and Paul are those individuals in that group. They have, again, over 30 different banks and processors that they work with. So it's not, okay, you submit it, it's not a good fit, sorry, you're declined, move on. No, they're gonna be able to get a lot of people looking at this, and if there is something available in their list, they'll find a fit for the merchant. So thank you guys all so much for spending some time with us. We're always here at Agora available for questions, Alex and Paul as well. So that information is right there. I'm just going to leave that up on the screen as we end here. And we just want to help you guys all become successful and earn money in as many different areas as you can. And the merchant services space is a very lucrative one, and it's residual. And most important, I don't know if we really ever officially said that, but merchant accounts are residual. Every time consumer goes into a business that is yours, that that merchant is processing with us through you, you're making money every single time somebody swipes a card every month for as long as they're processing. So it's residual. It's a great way to build that up. So thank you to all of you. Alex, Paul, I can't thank you guys enough for being back on with us, and I really look forward to having that other call with you guys, and we can go over the payout options a little bit more, because that's really exciting and some good money in that for all of us. So everybody have a wonderful rest of your Monday, and we will talk to you soon.